All right. Hey, I got Mike Nelson. I got Mike Grumbine. What's
Couple of
opera? What's opera, Mike's?
Oh no, we're gonna do opera. Are we supposed to accompany this?
In what way?
No, this is me singing, so I feel good about
I
this.
just told Mike.
In your former career?
It was one of my better performances.
None of you hear that. He's saying Gilby Bo Bilby Banana Fo Flesterton.
Isn't it?
Is this
Is it
AI is doing this?
It's AI, yeah.
Jeez.
Pretty wild.
They're coming for your job, Mike. They're coming for your job.
Yeah, I keep checking on it. They still can't write jokes. So.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
It'll now and then hit on a funny idea, but most of them, yeah.
It's just like like all of AI, it steals from, in jokes, it doesn't even steal from the best. So you're like,
Yeah, it does like lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
It's pretty good at opera.
Well,
So this
I don't
just
know.
created this without you.
I gave it the words. I said G to the K to the C to the H to the E to the S to the E to the R to the Chesterton. Hear that? The C.
Wow.
And then I said I tried to use a bunch of language about, because I couldn't just say opera. I had to find the right. Anyway, yeah, making it sound like I put a lot of effort in.
The question is, does it sample then the Bugs Bunny opera?
Yeah.
Cartoon.
Warner Brothers.
Like an actual.
Exactly.
Did you throw in the trills, or does it add that by itself?
I don't throw anything in it. It does it.
Did
Anyway,
you say like Rossini, or did you just make it?
I think I put the is it the 3 tenors, the 5? How many tenors are there?
Well, there's the Irish tenors, so I guess 6.
No, like Pavarotti and his Pavarotti.
Yeah, there's
Pavarotti
3,
and his buddies.
but then if you add the Irish tenors, then there's
Okay,
3
I don't
more.
know. My dad was an opera singer, but I don't know anything.
Oh, your dad was, huh?
Wait a minute. You pulled this out at the last second, like, hey, this is my.
You're
thing.
listening
my
to
dad's
another
an opera.
episode of Chesterton's Gateway
Hold
with
on.
Ethan, Nicolle, and Michael Grumbine, and me, AI Chesterton. Figaro. That was my best attempt at singing opera.
Stick with your day job, AI.
It sounds like a swear word.
Wow.
You
right.
You have to have known this through doing episodes and episodes of Audio Mullets at some time. But this is because the funkiest thing about my past is my dad was a homeless opera singer.
I
remember this?
remember everything but opera singer.
Okay,
That might be the piece.
like my dad in his life before having me sang at the Metropolitan Opera in New York.
Wow.
At his height, he got a part in Faust and sang at Metropolitan. And then he was a homeless fisherman when I was a kid, but he could still sing like that.
that was the part that I remember. That part.
Remember the homeless fisherman? He'd sing Figaro in his van. He'd make us, he'd sing like professional Figaro.
Wow.
I would sing it again.
I would, to annoy my children, I would sing Paint Your Wagon in our band because it resonated, like how you sing in the shower and then it that vibrato just hits your ears and you're like, I sound pretty good. And you don't. You're in the shower. I would sing in the band. Go, stop it.
Exactly.
No, I think I could still sing Paint Your Wagon.
My dad could sing.
Great dad joke.
My dad was in, because he was a Pentecostal. He actually got taken aside by the pastor of a Pentecostal Foursquare church and asked to tone it down.
Wow.
Which if you've been to a Foursquare, like a Pentecostal church, nobody gets asked to tone it down. That's the whole thing is, you go as wild as you can, barking and going crazy. But my dad, his voice was trained, to sing to a full auditorium of people without mics.
Yeah.
So, he could just belt that thing out.
Beyond the last row. Yeah, nice. Wow.
Making all the other people filled with the Spirit feel bad about themselves. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Too much Spirit.
Well, how do we transition into what we're actually going to talk about here?
I'm hungry, Have you boys any cheese?
Oh, there we go. Okay. Thanks, Chesterton.
Well, I do, in fact. Jeez.
This is the finale of our first season, if you want to call them seasons of our podcast, the nail biting finale. We moved this episode to the end, for just because, in fact, this episode was so important. We did a dress rehearsal, so it's going to be good.
Whole hour of dress rehearsal.
It might have
this
been.
is all feeling a little familiar to me. I don't know why. But it's
So
because
most
of
of
the
the-
rehearsal. And hey, man, second time's the charm. We're going to get it right.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I thought, like, what do they say? Like, bad dress rehearsal, good opening night.
Did they?
Oh, I mean, we were terrible in that dress rehearsal. So this
That was rough. Yeah.
great, right?
No one will ever know.
The problem
You
is
weren't,
most.
wait, you weren't an opera singer, so you didn't know? Bad
No, I
dress
didn't know that,
rehearsal,
yeah.
great opening night.
I think my dad, all the stuff he did, he didn't like share it with us or like give us any, like he never gave me any singing tips or anything. He never showed me he's a fisherman. He never basically never fished with me. He's a carpenter. He never taught me to build anything. He never like shared any of this. I don't know why he was like that, but he
never told you how to like put face paint on and do Othello or
yeah, exactly.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Just getting sadder and sadder at the beginning of this podcast.
There you
Yeah,
go.
but I have a resonant voice. I can sing pretty well.
Sound great in the shower.
so
Don't we all?
we're doing the Chesterton's essay on cheese, which is what's that from? Sorry,
Cheese, from the book Alarms and Discursions, published in 1910.
correct. I mean, yes. Alarms and discursions. Discursions comes up as a misspelling sometimes, depending what spell checker you use. But yeah, alarms and discursions.
That was from 1910, I would point out.
1910. Yes.
Yeah, we're talking about something that's, I mean,
115 years ago, and still the cheese is important.
yes, that is correct. Is there a 115-year-old cheese that we should have been eating during this episode just to, I mean, there must be, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere?
If there is, it's
Oh my
French.
Yes.
Hmm.
And
That
stinky
sounds
as
gross.
heck. It's kind of like, don't they discover occasionally, like they'll say like, oh, the Vikings buried a piece of meat in honey. I'd be like, it's, 350 years old. And then someone will go like, it's not that bad.
Tries it. Yeah.
For being buried for 350 years. All right.
Well, yeah, and there's cheese that is in tombs that's thousands of years old. I think like over 3,000 years old. The oldest one, it's Chinese Kefir cheese. So yeah, cheese has been around with us for a while.
Could you ship any to me really quick before the end of this episode? We could just eat it.
Yeah, we didn't plan it out very well.
You can be both poisoned and commit some crime or other, stealing from a museum.
I want to be one of those guys who eats those like MREs from like World War I and stuff on camera. Like, this looks good. Let me peel this up.
Yeah, act like it's so good.
Yeah.
You don't have to act like it's good.
Yeah. Just go ahead, man. It's not.
I think I find interesting about my wife is that she would absolutely not want to eat old cheese, but she's always happy to eat something that's expired. Like she's the one in the relationship that's like, I'm like, oh, it's expired, let's toss it. And she's like, eat it. And she smells it and she's like, it's fine. She eats it. She's always like excited somehow because I think she feels like she's saving money or whatever.
What do you think is the most expired thing that your wife will eat on command?
I think as
Like
long as
a milk product?
it's more like what
Like mayonnaise,
example?
like, the
There's like
expiration
sauces,
date, you're like,
sauces and things that kind of hang out in the fridge and you need to use them for a long time. You're like, oh wait, this is like 7 months expired. She's like,
all of a sudden you reach
smells
the
the same.
back of the fridge and you're like,
yeah,
why do we still like, I can't see it, so I don't know it's there. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, Trader Joe's curry sauce. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's 8 months expired. I'll do it.
Kellen Erskine, a stand-up comic buddy of mine, he has a joke about that. How in every relationship, there's like one person who respects expiration dates, and the other person who has absolutely no regard for whether or not you live or not, or whatever. It's the way he says it is much funnier, but it's clearer when he tells it. He's the one who respects expiration dates, and his wife does not, which I resonate with. It's not that I don't like feeling like I'm getting the not best. If it's expired, that means you're getting a subpar version of this thing, right? It's like,
Yeah,
what is that?
Improves with age, like cheese.
Yeah, wine and cheese, turns out.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's a good segue into beginning.
Yes.
Here we go. The first paragraph of Cheese.
My forthcoming work in 5 volumes, The Neglect of Cheese in European Literature, is a work of such unprecedented and laborious detail that it is doubtful if I shall live to finish it. Some overflowings from such a fountain of information may therefore be permitted to sprinkle these pages. I cannot yet wholly explain the neglect to which I refer. Poets have been mysteriously silent on the subject of cheese.
Uncharacteristically short paragraph for Chesterton.
We talked about this in the dress rehearsal.
Correct.
That we did. The voice you said is like as close as you can get, right?
So basically, there's 2 recordings on YouTube of Chesterton. One is at a live event, and one is like him reading an essay at a radio station. So I took the one of him at a radio station reading an essay. But he and you feed it into AI, and AI creates a voice based on it. But you can also change the settings. So his voice in the radio recording, if you listen to it, the accent is very thick. He talks very quiet at times. It's very like as he says, very varied. It's like it's almost hard to understand what he's saying. The funny thing is, I switched it. I've changed the settings so he talks more clearly. What's interesting is if you listen to the recording of him speaking at that live event, it sounds a lot closer to that. Like making that recording talk more clearly was how he talks at a live event. What? Wow. But so yeah, it's all drawn from his real voice. But it's funny when you hear it do those funny little mannerisms. It's trying to capture like some of the funny little mannerisms he has in that recording.
It does seem like he has a little bit of he kind of has a little bit of a vocal fry, and
he's
like a little bit of a teenage girl.
Okay, in the recording, he talks really quiet at times. He does a little vocal fry. I wish I could think of a line that he says. It's really, it's weird. It's like if he talked like that all the time, it would not work.
You think it was a public voice?
It was. Well, this one was his. I wonder if I can find it.
Yeah, he would have had to, in the days before microphones, he would have had to project to the back of the stage.
Yeah, so there's the difference. Like his voice is much clearer on the live event. He definitely projected it. Yeah, here it is. I wonder if I can. He sounds drunk. I'll play it.
Well, I mean, let's not hold that against him. Come on, what time was it?
After 10.
Yeah, there was, cheese and wine was free in the back. Yeah, I'm not going to ding him for that.
All right, listen in here.
Okay, this is the real voice.
It's the suggestion that we must eat beef without mustard. I do recognize that there is now little danger that men may want to eat.
So I actually speed his voice up because he talks so slow.
I mean that they may lose their appetite for beef and bread and cheese.
Wow. Okay. So that that is very close to what.
I'll try to find the Chesterton.
Have you ever been disappointed? Like, don't they say that like Abraham Lincoln, spoke in a high voice and was kind of reedy, and people are like, you think of Abraham Lincoln, 4 score, and then you hear him, and it's like 4 score.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I pretty much expect him to sound like a little British guy. So, well, not little, but that little British voice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if C.S. Lewis, when you hear him, it kind of sounds like what you expect C.S. Lewis to sound like. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yep.
But,
You know, what isn't the author that wasn't that for me was Tolkien. The guy was a philologist. He invented a bunch of languages. He was a scholar of the highest level, and he was a professor at Oxford. And then when you hear his voice, he slurs his words all the time. He talks really fast. He's very imprecise for what I was expecting anyway.
Right,
But
right.
I agree with you about Lewis. Lewis sounds more like what you're expecting.
Yes. Because maybe it's because he was much more common on the radio, and so you just kind of like, oh yeah, that's him, but
apparently Chesterton almost got a gig, like it was the radio, the BBC radio broadcasts. They did it a couple times, and they really liked him. People responded well to him, but he's in the last 5 years of his life, so he's also old and slower than probably he spoke.
That could be, because he sounds old and slow there. He's real like draggy. But here's him.
This is 1931.
Yeah, this is famous novelist delights students at Worcester College by joining them as a crusader in Massachusetts.
Wow. Down this way, Ray. Since you are one of the foremost crusaders in the modern world of letters, we wish to adopt you into the humble ranks of the Holy Cross Crusaders.
That's not him. That's a kid. Here he is.
I have to thank you for this very great honor, and I do so with all my heart.
It sounds just like
I
it, right?
can only say that I am not much of a crusader, but at least I am not a Mohammedan.
He says, at least I'm not a Mohammedan.
Yeah, all right. Laugh line. Pause for laugh.
Yeah.
People will testify to the fact. I should like to take this opportunity of thanking you all for your enormous kindness, and especially Father Earl for having received me so hospitably today.
There you go.
All right.
No, okay. I didn't get the voice from that recording I got from the other one, but with the different settings, it actually changed it to sound a lot more like that one. I just thought that was interesting.
I just wonder, like, there's so many great minds and so many great, like, we were thinking the other day about Roy Orbison. He's like the Elvis of his time, like a great guitarist, like had a 5-octave voice or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then he's on screen and people are like, yeah, I don't know, man. Can we do anything about the glasses that are thick Coke bottles and tinted? I have eye problems. Yeah, I don't know. Elvis is on a beach in Hawaii, like doing this. Yeah. Roy Orbison's like, I'll just go back to the studio.
Yeah, I like
the classic face made for radio.
Yeah. Poor guy. Very talented. I love Roy Orbison.
All right, second paragraph.
Virgil, if I remember right, refers to it several times, but with too much Roman restraint. He does not let himself go on cheese. The only other poet I can think of just now who seems to have had some sensibility on the point was the nameless author of the nursery rhyme, which says, if all the trees were bread and cheese, which is indeed a rich and gigantic vision of the higher gluttony. If all the trees were bread and cheese, there would be considerable deforestation in any part of England where I was living. Wild and wide woodlands would reel and fade before me as rapidly as they ran after Orpheus. Except Virgil and this anonymous rhymer, I can recall no verse about cheese.
Michael, do you know any other verses about cheese?
Well, so he doesn't know about, or he misses that Virgil actually did have a poem about cheese where he describes the cheese of a farmer and how the guy, and it's basically like a cheese ball of garlic. He grinds garlic up and herbs and in one of his Virgil's poems before what Virgil's most famous for, which is the Aeneid. And so,
are you saying that Virgil did let himself go on cheese?
I wouldn't describe it as letting himself go, I guess, but he does in fact mention cheese, garlic cheese balls, and that farmer spreads on bread. So the bread is there. It apparently is a part of the mix, a necessary part of the cheese mix. So Virgil does. He says that Virgil refers to it with too much Roman restraint. Okay, so he is pulling out the He just doesn't tell us what it is.
So yeah, he's saying
So does Virgil makes like the cheese ball that like from a 60s cocktail party where you throw your keys in a bowl and you roll up some garlic and cheese slivers, and then cover it with nuts and then put it on a thing.
It was actually
with some Ritz crackers.
Yeah, exactly like that with the with the leisure suit and everything. Exactly.
Yeah,
weird little knife. It's like a weird little knife spatula handle.
Yeah, exactly. Stabbed into it so that you know what to do with it. Like, I know how to spread cheese. But it does always like those cheese balls. Like, what was that about?
I hate those.
Why do you make a ball of cheese? Like, it seems so impenetrable. Like, am I going to be the first one to like cut into? Like, you made a ball. Am I supposed to throw this through a net? Like, what am I supposed
hard
to do?
like armadillo-like shell of nuts?
Yeah, they're rolling it in nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible idea.
They got bark on it.
See, you guys just aren't Roman enough. That's the problem.
Roman?
They were, Roman. I mean, so when Virgil's talking about it in these couple poems, he's talking about they carried it in balls. I mean, it's a shepherd's thing. I guess it's kind of it's the opposite of the 70s parties you were just referencing, actually, because what it actually is they would carry it in their satchel, like balls of cheese and bread. And it had to be soft enough. It couldn't be the hard stuff because they wanted to spread it on their bread. That's what he has a poem about a shepherd spreading it on bread. So anyway, the cheese balls, I guess, were an old thing. But the 70s, like everything else, they just did it wrong. Like most things from the 70s are just an abomination. And the colors, the carpet, the cheese balls, I guess, the disco, it's just a bad decade.
Well, don't disparage the disco ball, which I believe is making a comeback. But no, that sounds like I had a teacher when I was in high school who was like, he said his wife wrote a book. He's like, be an expert at everything. My wife is an expert on pasties. Do you know this? It's a pastry that the miners would bring into. It's Welsh, I believe, in origin or whatever.
Yeah,
potatoes and like meat.
Pasties.
Yeah. In northern Minnesota, it's called a pasty.
Okay.
That's just what anyway, she was an expert on how they came to northern Minnesota. So she wrote a book on it. And he's like,
oh, wow.
If you have any questions about it, like, I have no further questions.
The only question is, I thought it was pasty. Oh, actually, no.
She is. Well, pasty's a different thing in my mind, but
yeah, same here.
Well, aside from that thing, whatever it is, I know, but pasties were. I was introduced the idea of what you're calling pasties, but in northern England, not northern Minnesota, they call them pasties, and have
thick pastry, right, crimped at the edges, but it would keep them warm. It would be warm for the day because they'd keep it in their pockets,
right.
So then
and it was filled usually with
down there.
Meat or cheese too.
Meat, cheese, potatoes, whatever they had around the house, and it's just like, and then it would keep them warm. And then
the original Hot Pockets.
Hot Pockets, yes.
Hot Pocket. Yep.
I think that's right. Actually, I think Hot Pockets probably were designed off of
I think
pasties or pasties or whatever.
Real quick, Orpheus. Orpheus reference.
Right.
With all the references.
Yeah, sorry. Orpheus is the ancient, Greek figure who famously falls in love, and his love is killed, and he has to go to the underworld, or he decides to go to the underworld and sing his way. He's the world's most famous, or the ancient world's most famous musician. And so he sings his way in and to the underworld and back out again, and almost makes it. He's such an amazing poet and singer that he even makes Hades cry a single tear. And so Hades allows him to take the spirit of his wife back, but he's not allowed to look backwards. He has to sing his way out of Hades with his wife behind him, and he just has to believe that his wife's there. And classic Greek, he gets about 10 yards from the exit, and he turns and glances back, and then she's sucked back into essentially the underworld. So fails in the end, but he's this famous musician from Greek literature.
It says wild and wide woodlands would reel and fade before me as rapidly as they ran after Orpheus. So like the woods were running after Orpheus.
Yeah, he was able to basically. I mean, it's the woods, in not, I don't think in the literal sense, but the creatures of the woods. And
he was a homeless opera singer, and let's be honest.
Yeah, they were actually just telling him to tone it down.
Yeah, man, could you just like, here's where you are, here's where we want you.
I mean, you gotta imagine singing opera in tongues. That's what my dad did.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah. Okay. Hard to interpret that. We don't have an opera interpreter here.
There's Italian, you sing Italian in opera, but there's in tongues opera.
In a way, it's all opera in tongues. Like we were just listening to the Chesterton opera, and it sounded like opera, and I couldn't pick out how silly the language was.
I mean, he's singing nonsense.
Yeah,
because when they sing English, it sounds weird. It sounds weird. It needs to be like a different language. So that's why he's saying Chesterton. All right, then we shall continue.
Yet it has every quality which we require in exalted poetry. It is a short, strong word. It rhymes to breeze and seas, an essential point. That it is emphatic in sound is admitted even by the civilization of the modern cities. For their citizens, with no apparent intention except emphasis, will often say, cheese it, or even quite the cheese. The substance itself is imaginative. It is ancient, sometimes in the individual case, always in the type and custom. It is simple, being directly derived from milk, which is one of the ancestral drinks, not lightly to be corrupted with soda water. I hope, though I myself have only just thought of it, that the 4 rivers of Eden were milk, water, wine, and ale. Aerated waters only appeared after the fall.
So he's not a fan of soda water?
Who is mixing soda water with milk?
Isn't that how they make the cheese with holes in it?
No, I thought it's just fermentation, and then the holes are just the ferment. I don't know. I'm not a cheesemaker. Gosh, the cheesemakers are probably yelling at the screen. Of course they use soda water. You
I thought there was some kind of cheese that had like little bubbles. Little bubbles, and that's how.
Oh, little bubbles. I thought you were talking about Swiss cheese. I think that's just fermentation.
Okay, Swiss is just what's the one with like the little bubbles, like the little.
Little light soda bubbles.
Yeah, little soda bubbles.
But he's talking about mixing soda with milk. But is that for cheese or just for drinking? I mean, I'm not going to drink it. I never have.
See, I just took that to mean he was Chesterton.
Don't drink it while you're eating cheese.
Does drive-bys in his essays.
Yeah.
And so sometimes he's talking about a subject and he just uses it as an excuse to insult something that he doesn't like.
Yeah. And he does not like aerated water, clearly.
He doesn't like soda water. He thinks it's an abomination.
Drive-by.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but it's fine. If someone offers you one, I'm not going to throw it away and go, sorry, Chesterton told me I can't.
Is there cheese that's made with aerated water?
I don't know.
All right, this is this is he's asking his phone. Yes, Ethan is now. To those who cannot see this in our own,
made with aerated water. It's typically made from milk, cultures,
no aerated water,
and sometimes salt.
No, see, I love the way she's no.
You're right. No, I recently changed the settings so it should be more concise because sometimes it goes too long.
No,
I like the slight disdain in her voice.
Yeah, it was very.
What are you talking about? Why are you even asking me this? No.
You realize how much it costs to us AI generating, wasting the power?
If you ask it like something really, does it be I don't use AI at all, so I don't know. But if you ask it something like, "Is a giraffe a frog?" Will it then go like? No, you idiot. You know what I mean? Will it give you the proper contempt, or does it just kind of dryly state?
Is a giraffe a kind of frog?
Has to think about that. I like that that's not actually a thing that they've ever had.
It says, "We're busy. Please come back later."
That's their
Can't even be bothered.
The polite
Look,
disdain. This
Look,
question
go
is so
away. Like you sneak into your mom's office when she's working. Mom, is a giraffe a frog? Like, go away.
Is a giraffe a kind of frog? There you go.
No, a giraffe.
No.
Okay.
That no was distinctively disdainful. No.
Okay, it seems like we're still on giraffes not being frogs. Did you have another question, or are we sticking with quirky animal mix-ups?
Wow. Okay.
The annoying thing about this, the voice thing. If you
Just
make a
wanted to
small
see if
noise,
it
she
was
stops
as
talking.
condescending, and it is. Okay, good.
Yeah. All right, let's move on.
Okay.
I broke this paragraph up because it's kind of a long one.
Yeah.
But cheese has another quality, which is also the very soul of song. Once, in endeavouring to lecture in several places at once, I made an eccentric journey across England, a journey of so irregular and even illogical shape that it necessitated my having lunch on 4 successive days, in 4 roadside inns in 4 different counties. In each inn they had nothing but bread and cheese, nor can I imagine why a man should want more than bread and cheese if he can get enough of it. In each inn the cheese was good, and in each inn it was different. There was a noble Wensleydale cheese in Yorkshire, a Cheshire cheese in Cheshire, and so on. Now it is just here that true poetic civilization differs from that paltry and mechanical civilization which holds us all in bondage. Bad customs are universal and rigid, like modern militarism. Good customs are universal and varied, like native chivalry and self-defense.
Bad customs are universal and rigid, like modern militarism. Good customs are universal and varied, like native chivalry and self-defense. Does that make sense to anybody else?
It does. Do you think, though, that like Chesterton often, as you know, Ethan, you and I read him for a long time, is that he just goes like, okay, here's my excuse to talk about subject Y,
Right.
X.
Well, yeah, he will eventually get to the point.
Now I'm on to this,
right.
Like if I go to a county and they have cheese, therefore this is. I'm not defending it. I think it's great. I just think
it's fun.
It's like, I
think Michael says what. Yeah, he said he does drive-bys. Is one of the things he does. He kind of, which he attacks things he hates, but also like he'll if there's an opportunity to make a point, he'll make it even if it's not the point.
Right. I get this feeling when I read him sometimes that he doesn't intend to go a certain direction when he started the paragraph, and it just sort of it's like my wife's mind. It just, everything is bundled into everything else, and so when you start talking about one thing, then all of a sudden halfway through the 2 minutes in, you're talking about something else that you never intended to talk about, but for Chesterton, it's okay. Like he does, in fact, find the universal. He's going to have a point here about the cheese, that basically when you try to impose something universal and rigid over an area where there's natural variation should be the law, then it's bad, and you get a dumbing down of the thing as it's supposed to exist. But sometimes I don't. Doesn't feel like he was actually intending to go into that. He just sort of drives by it and starts.
In writing, don't they say he didn't quite earn it, but it's like, it's fine. Like, okay. He didn't set it up or anything. Like, I'm going to tell you about this. I think that's fine. That's one of the reasons I love Chesterton, is he's just like, I'm going to talk about this for a while. Now I'm going to talk about this. Now I'm going to talk about this. If you don't like it,
it does feel like
to read it.
Exactly. It feels like a guy in a room more than it does, a formal structure that he's building towards.
Right.
So there's only a couple books that he has where he like Everlasting Man is more like that.
Yeah. This, yes.
Yeah. But this his rando essays, less so.
Yeah,
so,
especially those little short ones.
And you cut it off at native chivalry and self-defense there. So
I guess maybe he continues on that point since we're in the middle of the paragraph.
Does.
I was trying to understand that, like, modern militarism is universal and rigid, but then native chivalry and self-defense are good customs, are universal and varied.
Well, and he's
we each
referring
have our own kind of chivalry and self-defense.
Yes, and then
we all have them.
Europeans did, in fact. Like there was different standards for chivalry in the Middle Ages, depending on which province of France you were in, or England, or the Germanic borderlands, or Italian city-states. And so there was in fact variance based on region, and same thing with their traditions of self-defense and when you were allowed and what you were allowed to use, and he's just decrying the sort of industrial modernism, modern militarism rather. The practices of what we might call the military industrial complex in America. That's the phrase that we now use to talk about sort of this overarching attitude, almost a behemoth of force that's always acting in a unified way. And so, yeah, for Chesterton, it should be more local and have different local customs.
Mm-hmm. Now, he doesn't talk about the bad side of this. Like, what if you, he didn't say, like, oh, then I ended up in Teesside and had some of their cheese, and it was absolute shite. But it's the only cheese you have access to because you have their one crappy cheese they make.
Right.
Just, devil's advocate. All right, we'll continue.
Both the good and bad civilization cover us as with a canopy and protect us from all that is outside. But a good civilization spreads over us freely like a tree, varying and yielding because it is alive. A bad civilization stands up and sticks out above us like an umbrella, artificial, mathematical in shape, not merely universal but uniform. So it is with the contrast between the substances that vary and the substances that are the same, wherever they penetrate. By a wise doom of heaven, men were commanded to eat cheese, but not the same cheese. Being really universal, it varies from valley to valley. But if, let us say, we compare cheese with soap, that vastly inferior substance, we shall see that soap tends more and more to be merely Smith's soap or Brown's soap, sent automatically all over the world. If the Red Indians have soap, it is Smith's soap. If the Grand Lama has soap, it is Brown's soap. There is nothing subtly and strangely Buddhist, nothing tenderly Tibetan about his soap. I fancy the Grand Lama does not eat cheese. He is not worthy. But if he does, it is probably a local cheese, having some real relation to his life and outlook. Safety matches, tinned foods, patent medicines are sent all over the world, but they are not produced all over the world. Therefore, there is in them a mere dead identity, never that soft play of slight variation which exists in things produced everywhere, out of the soil, in the milk of the kine, or the fruits of the orchard. You can get a whiskey and soda at every outpost of the empire. That is why so many empire builders go mad. But you are not tasting or touching any environment, as in the cider of Devonshire or the grapes of the Rhine. You are not approaching nature in one of her myriad tints of mood, as in the holy act of eating cheese.
They got milk of the kine and grapes of the Rhine.
Wow, yes.
Throw that.
Well, he told us already he likes the rhyming part of
he does like rhymes
of cheese.
Yeah, if you read his poetry, it almost all rhymes. Maybe all of it does, actually.
Oh, is he a rhymer guy?
He's a big rhymer. Yeah.
When I was in high school, I had a teacher who's like, if you're going to write a poem, make sure that if you're reading a poem, make sure you don't hit the rhymes. And I always remember that. And then I do that. And people are like, yeah, like, because if you, and I was like an orator in high school and college, and I would win awards and like get prize money for orating. And it was because I wouldn't rhyme on the rhymes, which is lame. So you're supposed to skip over them, and it takes a lot of.
Recite green eggs and ham to me. I just want to hear how you would do it.
Okay, can I pull it up?
I do not eat green eggs. I will not eat green eggs and ham. I will not eat them in a box. I will not eat them with a fox. I will not eat them here or there.
Exactly. Like you see the word fox, you would like look to the next sentence.
So I will not eat them with a fox. I will not eat them in a box. Yes, I will.
You just go full Christopher Walken, and I think you've got the.
I will.
But this made me think of reading this little section of it. Made me think of when I was a kid. I would read Sherlock Holmes, and he would like take the train out to some place and like go to this country home. And then they go, Watson, we must go to this inn. and they would go to an inn and he would like, how is your ale today, sir? You know, and they would pump a pint of ale and he'd be like, oh, it's very good today. That was so foreign to me. I'm like, what are you talking about today? It's good. But this is like what he's saying is like there's all these little like myriad things, and this is a good thing. And to me, it was like so foreign. Like, I don't know, you just open a can of Schlitz, right? And it's the same today as it was yesterday.
Well, and that's I mean, this is where we are. I think there's a chasm between us and Chesterton, not just in time, but the American character has been one we have. I mean, the British and started the Industrial Revolution, but we finished it, if anyone did. Our contribution to the world is we can package anything from music to jeans to McDonald's and send it to you, and it's the same. You get the same if experience, or you're supposed to, wherever you are opening it, and we find that to be comforting. I think we find that to be the consistency to be good, and Chesterton hates it. Chesterton, whether it's the cider of Devonshire or a Wensleydale, he wants there to be. He wants to taste and feel the native soil that it was made in, and he's fine with the fact that a tree doesn't cover you as well as an umbrella. He's fine with the fact that you're going to get wet at times under a tree if you use trees as cover versus umbrellas. And we as Americans, there's something weird about that to us. Yeah.
So you don't think he would like if he could just walk a couple blocks to Trader Joe's and all these cheeses he's talking about are there? They all got shipped from those places. Right. He can just get them all at once. And
okay, so that's even further development
across the countryside.
Good point, because we do seem to want that, but like people like the idea of microbrews, of having the
they have the whole thing in the deli, like even at Ralph's now. It's like not now, but they have it. Has all these different cheeses from all these different places in one spot,
locally sourced.
Yeah. So I guess we can say that we agree with Chesterton, at least in principle, but there is a part of us that's fine with manufactured packaging, homogenized milk. Like I remember that when I was a kid, my aunt had a goat farm, and goat milk was horrible to me. But until I went to the farm, and then I was on the farm and it was great. And then I had to work there for like 4 summers in a row, and then I hated it again. But the point is that the goat milk tasted different.
Straight from the goat.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We just turn our heads sideways.
I'm going to be doing it the cows, but I don't know if
that's exactly right. Goat. But there were goat farms in the area, and each of their goat milk actually tasted a little different. It was, and the same thing with raw milk. It's my mom was a big raw milk fan for a while, and so we drank raw milk. And depending on the week you got it and which Altadena dairy you bought your raw milk from, it did actually taste a little different sometimes. So
that's one of the things. That's one reason I'm a huge cigar fan. I think cigars are there's subtle but huge varieties in all the different cigars.
I roast my own coffee, same thing. They're all different. I buy from different little farms and stuff, and it's like, it's different.
Yeah.
I went a couple of years ago to stay in the south of France at a place. Our friends are like partial owners of a winery, and they were talking, and he's a big wine guy, and he's talking about terroir, and all of this. And I'm like, whatever, man. Isn't it the grape on a field? And then you're at the place and you see the wind sweeps over the valley and does this weird thing to the grapes at the top rows. And then the middle rows have way less of this vendange, and then the lower ones don't get any of it. And so it's like all different. And you're like, okay, I get it now. It is true. It's true. You hate to admit it because you're just thinking of like the Central Valley. Look, it's all sitting there. Shut up about that. But it is, of course, extremely different. So I'm on board.
Yeah, I'm glad you're on board because he's going to go on about this.
Yes.
This is the last paragraph. Here we go.
When I had done my pilgrimage in the 4 wayside public houses, I reached one of the great northern cities, and there I proceeded, with great rapidity and complete inconsistency, to a large and elaborate restaurant where I knew I could get many other things besides bread and cheese. I could get that also, however, or at least I expected to get it, but I was sharply reminded that I had entered Babylon and left England behind. The waiter brought me cheese, indeed, but cheese cut up into contemptibly small pieces, and it is the awful fact that instead of Christian bread, he brought me biscuits. Biscuits, to one who had eaten the cheese of 4 great countrysides. Biscuits, to one who had proved anew for himself the sanctity of the ancient wedding between cheese and bread. I addressed the waiter in warm and moving terms. I asked him who he was that he should put asunder those whom humanity had joined. I asked him if he did not feel, as an artist, that a solid but yielding substance like cheese went naturally with a solid yielding substance like bread. To eat it off biscuits is like eating it off slates. I asked him if, when he said his prayers, he was so supercilious as to pray for his daily biscuits. He gave me generally to understand that he was only obeying a custom of modern society. I have therefore resolved to raise my voice, not against the waiter, but against modern society, for this huge and unparalleled modern wrong.
Wow.
I wish I could get at it a little dramatized a little bit more. Some real acting in there.
Christians. Well, I mean, I'm actually impressed with the intonation and the fact that it catches a lot of the, like when it reaches parenthetics, it does it in a lower, it drops the voice a little.
Mm-hmm.
It does that.
So, a little contemplative biscuits. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yes.
And biscuits are, of course, what we would call crackers.
I love the idea of being in a restaurant. A guy brings crackers, and you go, "Give me Christian bread." Christian bread. I heard it called Christian bread.
I do another podcast where we're reading a book by a British author, and it's called like Night of the Crabs. It's a pulp thing from the 70s, so it was after Jaws. But in one of the things he says, he meets a woman at an inn, and she's eating cheese spread over a biscuit. And so we had to stop and like, wait, we're looking it up, and like a biscuit is generally a sweet, small cracker. But then British people were writing in like, you don't know what a biscuit is, sir. Please shut your mouth. Like, I don't know. It just seemed weird that she's eating a big chunk of cheese on a biscuit. And we're like, hey, I'm American, a biscuit. I know what a biscuit is. Like, nope, it's a different thing. Anyway, so we did the deep dive on biscuits. So it's just funny that came up in the next 3 days. This was 3 days
Oh, you
ago.
did that recently, yeah.
Yeah. Biscuits came up very recently.
I'm just stunned and a little curious about the idea that, so if biscuits aren't Christian bread, then what are they? Are they atheists? Are they Hindu?
Godless,
Are they godless bread?
So what should we do when like we're in Britain and someone offers you tea and then they go like, would you like a biscuit with this? You're like, no, you're not Christian. Get away from me.
Heathen.
Yeah.
Now, would Chesterton be more or less offended by the concept of Limp Bizkit?
Oh, well, I think he would be like, I listened for 11 seconds. I don't even understand what that was happening. I mean, the concept of Fred Durst is, of course, appealing to me.
You would just go back to doing Chestertonian opera.
Is Fred Durst in Limp Bizkit?
Yeah, it's good job.
Thank you.
I know you're
I
a
got
fan.
one thing right.
Very good. Yeah. One of the minor notes about this paragraph that I really like is a Chesterton. It's a staple of Chesterton where he will eviscerate what he views as bad ideas, and he will tell stories about when those bad ideas were came and bumped him, like this waiter with the cheese.
Mm-hmm.
But he will always make a point of saying he doesn't blame the person. Like,
Yes.
even when he's talking about, talking to George Bernard Shaw, who is basically the opposite of him on every philosophical and theological position possible. His friendliness and his desire not to offend. Ethan and I were just recording another podcast where it's talking about publishers and their he acknowledges the stereotype of publishers basically abusing their authors and using them for money only. But he's very careful to say that, in a recent book that his publisher wrote the title for, he doesn't blame the publisher. He blames himself for not catching the title. So it's a
change they made. Yeah.
He's really careful. I like how he's, and especially when they're blue collar, and the publisher wasn't, but this guy, this waiter, he gets a pass on serving awful cheese on awful bread.
That was funny, because I was thinking of that just yesterday, maybe as I was preparing for this or whatever, but what is that about? There are certain people who are so appealing about presenting their ideas in a way that they're just so appealing. I was thinking about him, like, I could give him to anyone. Like, yeah, you don't like him? You know what I mean? He's so likable in everything that you read. He does it in a way, it's like, if we could all have that, if we could all present our ideas in that way, what a glorious thing that is. Because he's like, look, I have a friend who's like, yeah, I'm a horrible person. What do you think of my ideas? I think is a very appealing thing. That's what Chesterton is, just like, yeah, you may not like this or that or this, but I'm not really representing myself. He's self-deprecating enough to go, what do you think of the ideas? What do you think of what I'm presenting? Which I think is very, very appealing way to do it.
Yeah, he has that spirit of friendship, even when you don't know him personally. Comes through in his works,
right?
Which is a great quality. I'm reminded of the fact that when we do our Chestertonian readings, very frequently he'll sit there and level a line of fire at Calvinists, for example. He likes to.
Yes.
There's a bunch of Calvinists in our group.
Sure.
And they always find it just amusing. I mean, no one's really offended that much. I mean, once in a while you get Curtis to grumble about his, just some distinction or other that he wants to make sure that we all understand about Puritans or Calvinists or whatever. But they're just, Chesterton puts it in a way where it just isn't offensive, even when he's offending.
Right.
So, I like it.
Here's the idea. What do you think of it? Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah,
No.
I'd forgotten how bread is so key. Like he keeps coming back to the idea of, cheese is good, but cheese with bread is what's really fantastic.
And these are both things that are unique to their areas, right? Like
exactly,
everyone makes their own cheese and their bread.
Which again, American experience, not so much. We go to the store and we buy the bread and it's supposed to taste, whatever package we buy it, it's supposed to taste the same. But when you make your own bread, and my wife's recently got into making different sourdoughs and stuff, which are delicious. But she'll get the cultures from different places, and then it tastes different. It's actually it actually makes a difference. So I think that you're right that it matches. I like how he said here that it should go with the bread because the bread is soft and yielding as well as the cheese. So apparently things that are soft and yielding go together in his mind.
I read once, I swear this makes sense when you hear it, but I read once that I was reading an article on the guys who make bourbon. And it was just like, okay, bourbon was always just like, this is what it is. We just serve one bourbon. And then all the younger generations were like, Dad, you should make Russell's Reserve, where you take, the barrel that's the best, and then you put that. And they're like, I don't know what that's about. Anyway, they said, what keeps you up at night? And they're like, well, we have our yeast. And that's what makes our stuff different from every other thing. And so they would have the yeast in secret locations buried around, like whatever in Kentucky. And then every day they would like wake up and they'd drive their truck to these secret locations and make sure their yeast was okay. That's what kept them up at night. It is like, because if we don't have that, if we had to start over with someone else's yeast, it wouldn't be the same thing. So I think that's very funny that like these guys were like, they like 2 o'clock in the morning, The yeast.
I got to check on the yeast again.
Yeah.
And I love the fact they have different yeast in different locations too. It isn't like one location for
Yeah, in case the nuclear bomb drops on the yeast over here, they're like, "I'll just drive to the next
That's all
county, make our bourbon again."
Well, that's really true of bread too. Like it's like where the yeast cultures is. I mean, just it makes a difference on the taste.
Wild yeast, yeah.
Such a gross word. I hate the word yeast. Ugh. I said it.
Do you also hate the word? I feel like the most hated word in the world is moist.
Moist.
Yeah.
Yeast and moist. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, they have that similarity. Yeah.
I've got some moist yeast. If anybody
wants God, you must just like want to jump out a window when you hear someone's moist yeast.
Well, before we finish it up, I got to ask Mike if you have any perspective having a history in the cheese industry as you do, and coming from Wisconsin.
Oh yes, I forgot. I don't know if I mentioned this on our dress rehearsal. I worked a couple of years for I put myself through college working at a cheese factory.
So this is like not Christian. This is like a big mass marketed cheese.
Well, it was a well, I mean, I see no reason not to say the place that it was. It's the Burnett County Dairy Cheese Factory. So it was a big conglomerate. So they did dump their milk was into a big silo, and then it would come out of the pump, and we would make the cheese. So it was, I guess it was local. I mean, you couldn't truck it in from anywhere else. It was local cheese, but I was a pack rat. So at night, the factory would close down, and then the pack rats would come in and pack the cheese. Low moisture part skim mozzarella. Guys. And then we would do the cheddar blocks. Anyway, now the place, and I was like, this was the worst job I'd ever had. It was horrendous.
Was that the actual title? You were called a pack rat?
That's what they would call us. I don't know that was ever on any official writing.
Was it on your check?
What they would call us. And you would come in and you would just see, like, mostly it was the provolone we would see floating in the brine. That was brined for like 12 hours or something. So we'd pack that, we'd cryovac it up and put it in boxes and ship it off to grocery stores or whatever. But then the other thing was doing the little blocks of cheddar. And so that was in like a thing where you literally, it was like a submarine. You'd close it, you'd wrap it in wax and close it, and then the steam would steam it shut. And the guys said one time, they're like, "Hey, we need you to do these 40 blocks or whatever." And so I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I started doing it, and the steam and the heat and everything, because it was like 90 degrees in there, was so much that I passed out on the chair. And then when I woke up, they were laughing. They're like, "Ah, you stupid piece of garbage." So then I would sit there with it, and I would have a gallon of water, and I would just like slam down the water just so I would survive doing this thing with like the cheese things. But anyway, now this place now wins awards for their like artisan cheese and stuff like that. So back in my day, I wanted to burn it to the ground because I hated it. But
I picture you with having like smoked lens glasses and a mullet, because that's how you describe yourself in the past when we were on Audio Mullet. I don't know if this is the right era. But...
I don't think I had the mullet because I probably couldn't pull it off. But I did have I wore the hairnet and the smoked glasses, and and I lived not far from it, so I'd walk down the road with the big rubber boots on, and would just get closer and closer and go like, you know how you just want to like, if there was just a rope somewhere between you and
there is something about approaching something you hate slowly, where this is just a weight on your soul as you're getting there.
You just get closer, and then all of a sudden you smell it. You're like,
yeah.
So yes, I did. I am a cheesemaker from way back. I forgot about that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for your insight.
What would Chesterton think of your job?
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Did Michael go quiet? Or you both went quiet? Are you listening to him?
I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm listening.
GK Chester tunny ton. That's what I'm saying.
It's soft in the background. So
yeah, it is.
I'm bringing it up. I was trying to quietly bring it behind you guys as you kept talking. Then
no, that was good.
I
was kind of like, Wait a minute, is that in my own house?
Always possible.
Yeah.
So would Chesterton not approve of your job, do you think?
I don't think he would have worked my job.
Mm-hmm.
But he would have approved it. It was all local milk. It was a good. Now it's winning awards the world over. You can look it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe it's the world over part of that. That's the Chesterton would want people to have to go to the place to get the cheese, I guess.
Well, I think that is part of it. You drive by and they have like we win awards all over the world, but they don't use. It's very locally sourced milk. So it's very sourced in this one county that I was, Burnett County. You can drive
Burnett
by
County.
it. It's on Highway 70 in Wisconsin.
All right.
It's right there. It's very famous.
Quick, this.
Chesterton's Gateway is produced by Ethan Nicolle and Michael Grumbine. It is based on the book of the same name, which can be found on that capitalist monstrosity Amazon.com. Send questions and comments to Chesterton's Gateway at gmail.com. And join us on Patreon, where only the true Chestertonians can be found. Goodbye.
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 A little bit of vocal fry on the end.
Mike Nelson, thank you so much for joining us and doing it twice because I forgot to hit record last time. Literally, that's what happened.
Oh, I'm glad you're saying that now. The dress rehearsal was, in fact, a full episode. This is lost to history. It was the greatest thing ever, and you'll never see it.
No, none of
Mike,
us.
Mike was trying so hard throughout the episode to just keep referring to it in a very professional way. Yes, we had a dress rehearsal. No, we had an entire failed episode is what we had.
All my fault.
Yeah.
Every podcast I've been on, most of the podcasts I've been on, it's not my job to hit record. It's like there's always somebody else doing it.
I would just say that episode is like the Snyder cut. It's so good.
It is. It was so good. I remember thinking when we were done, like that was the best episode of. And yeah, it's gone.
Now it's gone. That's all right.
But hey, up next we're starting Orthodoxy. We're diving in deep to one of Chesterton's greatest books. So Orthodoxy starts next episode.
Yeah, one of the greatest books that nobody ever finishes the first time they read it.
Exactly. That's right.
I love it.
All right, guys. Mike's. Thank you both.
It was a pleasure, Mike. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thanks again for coming on.
Yep. So long.
All right. So long. Bye-bye. And we rock out.
That's how you rock out with your one finger with the opera. Oh, now I can hear it.
I don't think that even makes sense. Chesterton, Chesterton.